So I do believe that they are kind of like destroying their way of life here. It's millions of them, right? So only about 50,000 have died, but that's like 50,000 compared to the 1,300 or so that they claim died on October 7th. So on October 7th, they claim 1,300 people died. October 7th, 2023, when they did the attack, 1,300 people died. And since then, they have murdered like tens of thousands of people, mostly civilians, and many children. At least like 20,000 children. They say. Are they starving kids? Yeah, they are starving kids because they're basically limiting aid and food to get into the country, right? So what you see is these kids trying to get food and water. Even water, they can't get. They don't let enough water in for people to survive either. You can look at the video I made, bro. There's tons of, and I have a whole bibliography there, so you can check that out. But there's some truths in dispensationalism. Well, there are truths. Dispensationalism. Look, man, they always try to say all these weird stuff. The thing that they say that's wrong. I don't mind the stuff about futurism or anything like that. I'm just saying the thing that I'm saying that they say is wrong is that the church in Israel are just completely different and they'll never be the same. And also that most of them will say that we're not part of the new covenant. It's just wicked. Palestine, the city, to spread Islam, the country. Palestine, the country. How are they using Palestine to spread Islam? Come on, man. Come on, man. There's just what do you think Palestine is, bro? It's these two places in Israel or that region, right? One is the West Bank, one is Gaza. In the West Bank, they're kind of like allowed to leave or whatever, but it's very limited. They have their rights are kind of limited. They're under guard from military. In Gaza, they're not even allowed to leave. Okay, unless they have special permission. So, and they're bombing them to hell. Now, I don't think like Islam needs the Palestinians to spread Islam. They have all these other countries that practice Islam, many millions of people all over the world. It's almost like a billion Muslims. These 65 children and then 22 or 65 people, 22 children. Both of those are like so 65 is 11 and 22 is 11 times 2. So they like to do 11 and stuff like that. Yeah, I do think the Masons are behind it. I absolutely do think. What I'm saying to you, the reason why I bring up these things, right? The reason I don't like, yeah, I do think a lot of this stuff is fake. I do think the Masons are behind the conflict. But I bring up this stuff because people will say that we should support Israel, or for example, Ken Yates was saying we should support Israel. I'm just saying, according to them, according to their own beliefs about the news and about information, and like because Ken Yates won't deny that the UN, he won't deny UN reports or Amnesty International reports or Human Rights Watch or all these things, or even the mainstream media is now reporting thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people in Palestinian. Everybody knows this. So then you see her Christians, especially dispensationalists, say, "Oh, we have to support Israel. They did nothing wrong. The Palestinians are wicked, the devils. They're Muslim devils, and all this stuff." Well, okay, I get that they're Muslim. Is that worse than being a Jew? Is it worse to be a Muslim than to be a Jew? And also, they're human beings. It doesn't matter if they're Muslim or not. It's like you can't just kill them. You can't just blow up their whole neighborhood, blow up their apartment building, blow up their hospitals and their universities. Hey, look at this. Look at this. They'll do stuff like this, right? So what they're saying is a missile hit here and a missile hit here, and then the bus went into where the missile was, or the missile hit the bus or something. Who knows, right? But that's what they're trying to say. But this looks fake to me personally. Like, what am I supposed to believe about this? So Israeli warplanes dropped a bomb here, and then it made this hole in the ground. Okay, maybe. Six bombs in the Gaza hospitals. Once again, six. Like I say, I do believe a lot of this stuff is fake. I'm just saying to you that if a person does not believe in conspiracy theories, they try to say we need to support Israel. Well, look at this. This is ridiculous. Are they really the descendants of Abraham? Kind of. Yeah, I know. So wicked, eh? But okay, I would say the Ashkenazis are the children of Abraham. I think they are. Then you have these other groups. There's not all Jews are the same, right? They have Ashkenazi Jews who used to live mainly in Europe and Russia, and then they form a large part of the population of Israel. And I think those are the true Jews, the true children of Abraham. Then you have these other guys called the Sephardim. They're more like they were around like Spain and that area and stuff. So I think they're more mixed, but they're probably partially Jews or whatever. And then there's other people that were living there the whole time, but they're mixed too. And so there's different ethnicities within the ethnicity that we know as Jewish. And so I only think the Ashkenazis are the ones that are descended from Abraham. And they always say, look, you know what? They have tons of reports about how all the hospitals are destroyed. But then you see people in the hospitals. Now, I get what they're saying because, like, sometimes they'll bomb a hospital, and so it's in, like, one wing of the hospital. So that wing is shut down, but the other wing is still open. So that may be what they're saying, but all I'm saying is they believe in the covenants, but they also believe that we're not part of the new covenant. Is that what you think? Do you think that? Do you agree with that, Glass Tuxedo? I'm telling you, man, don't get into that stuff, bro. That stuff is wicked beyond belief. Dispensationalism. I didn't realize how bad it is till now. This guy's always with the maybe. Israel's army claimed it targeted a Hamas command center under the hospital. That's what they always do. They'll say, "Oh, there was a Hamas military thing under the hospital. That's why we had to bomb the hospital with sick people and all these helpless victims there, because there was a Hamas thing there. But there's no independent investigation of these things. And numerous times there's been disproven. It's completely disproven. Like, remember I showed you the apartment building? That apartment building, there's clearly no military there whatsoever. Absolutely not. They try to claim that, but it's not the case. And stuff like that, man. I'm trying. Yeah, I know the Ashkenaz and the Table of Nations. I know, man. I know. I get it. But we shouldn't think that that's like a thing from thousands of years ago, man. The fact that these people today have that name, they got that name from some other thing. Let's see what that is. Let's see what that is, man. Oh, sorry. Oh, you can see it, right? Ashkenazi etymology. The term Ashkenazi has its roots in the Hebrew word Ashkenaz, which is first mentioned in the Hebrew Bible as one of Noah's descendants, specifically the first son of Gomer. Over time, the meaning of Ashkenaz shifted to denote various geographical regions. Initially, it was associated with the Scythian cultures and later with the Slavic territories. So that's probably why. because they're Jews living in these Slavic territories. So they call them Ashkenazi Jews because they're mixed with those people and stuff. From the 11th century onwards, Ashkenaz began to be used to refer to the area of northern Europe, particularly Germany and France. This shift reflects the migration patterns of Jewish communities, with those who settled in these regions becoming to be known as Ashkenazim. According to, sorry, could you read this? Is this too small? According to recent genetic studies, the geographical origins of Ashkenazi Jews in their native language, Yiddish, were investigated using the geographic population structures method. These studies localized most Ashkenazi Jews along major ancient trade routes in northeastern Turkey, adjacent to primeval villages with names resembling Ashkenaz. This finding supports the hypothesis of an Irano-Turco-Slavic origin of Ashkenazi Jews, and a Slavic origin for Yiddish rather than the Rhineland hypothesis, which advocates a Levantine origin for Ashkenazi Jews and German roots for Yiddish. So there you go. There's some people who support your view. In rabbinic literature, the descendants of Ashkenaz were first associated with the Scythian cultures and later with the Slavic territories, and from the 11th century onward with Germany and Northern Europe. The term Ashkenaz is related to the Assyrian Askuza, the Scythians who expelled the Gimri from the Armenian highland of the upper Euphrates area. In summary, the etymology of Ashkenazi traces back to biblical origins and has evolved to denote Jewish communities in Central and Eastern Europe, with recent genetic evidence suggesting a more complex and diverse geographical and cultural history. No, I don't agree with that. I was referring to the covenants made in the Old Testament. Yeah, well, everybody believes in the covenants. Every Christian believes in the covenants. The fact that they believe in the covenants doesn't mean that they're a good theology. They're wicked, man. I mean, not that the people are wicked, but that theology is wicked. Khazaria, yeah. So I mean, that's the theory, right? Okay. So the competing theory is that this people, the Khazarians. Like, hang on, man. I don't want to read this. Anyway, let's read this maybe. Okay. The Khazarian Empire was a powerful commercial empire that existed in the southeastern section of modern European Russia, southern Ukraine, Crimea, and Kazakhstan during the early medieval period. Established in the late 6th century CE, the Khazars, a Turkic people, created an influential trading empire that dominated trade routes between China, the Middle East, and Kiev and Rus. This is where Russia comes from. The empire peaked in power in the second half of the 8th century, extending along the northern shore of the Black Sea from the lower Volga and the Caspian Sea to the Dnieper River in the west. The Khazars are notable for their conversion to Judaism in the 8th century under King Bulan, which was significant as it marked the establishment of one of the few Jewish states in history. This conversion was likely influenced by the political situation as the Khazars sought to maintain their autonomy between the expanding Islamic and Christian worlds. The Khazarian Empire served as the buffer state between the Byzantine Empire, steppe nomads, and the Umayyad and Abbasid caliphates. Their empire declined in the 10th century, and after its fall, many nations claimed to have Khazar lineage and Turkic origin. Theories about the Khazars' influence on the formation of Eastern European Jewish communities have been proposed, suggesting that some Khazars migrated westward following the collapse of their empire and contributed to the genetic makeup of Ashkenazi Jews. I wouldn't be surprised if they intermarried with them. I wouldn't be surprised with that. But the idea that they're mainly descended from Khazars, I just find that hard to believe. Why are they so high IQ? You know? How come other Turks don't have high IQs like Ashkenazi Jews? Why do these people have that? What's up with that? You know what I mean? Truth freeze, like for people that want to try to say that the Ashkenazi Jews are just Khazars, that they have no relation to Abraham whatsoever, right? Okay, that's fine. But why do they have high IQs? Why is that? The Khazars have high IQs? Is there something like? Do we know anything about that? I don't think they did. And they don't look. They look like they look weird too, man. They look like Jews, man. Like, they have the look, the facial look, the nose and stuff. Amish and Ashkenazi have genetic ties with Khazars. Amish and Ashkenazi have genetic ties. Wait, what is that? What do you mean? Anyway, yeah, this music is absolutely obscene, eh? Now that who's saying that? This music is terrible. Like, look, you're talking about these people that are dead, man. Why are you playing this music like it's like what kind of wickedness is this, man? Yeah, Jews have high IQs. Yeah, it's a test. It's an objective test. Come on, man. Don't try to say that. Well, who judges IQ? You think the Jews judge the IQs? It's an objective test, man. High IQ and Jews. So yeah, Jews have higher IQs than most other people groups, or all other people groups, actually. I'm not saying IQ is. I'm not saying IQ is the measure of intelligence, but I am saying it does measure some cognitive abilities, clearly, right? And so it's interesting that they are so high IQ. It's like it's weird that no one else is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This music is wicked, dude. Imagine watching. These people are crying for their dead relatives, right? You're playing this wicked music. Wicked. This is what they do. Like they'll bring in this guy, right? This is why I think a lot of this stuff is fake. Like, look at this. Look at this. Like, this guy. They're gonna bring in this guy. What is wrong with this guy? Does this guy have blood? Does this guy have a wound? What's wrong with him? Is there something wrong with this person? Do you see anything wrong with this guy? I'm not saying it's all fake, but some of it is fake. Like this guy has nothing wrong with him. He's sitting there, lying there with his hands on his chest. So utterly dumb. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Does this guy have something wrong with him? Is there blood on this person? He's pulling up his shirt. Why is he putting up his shirt? Is there blood on this guy? Is there something wrong with this guy? And you see how they look at the camera? They kind of nobody's like, it's just fake, man. These type of things are fake, you know. Look at this. Look at this. Is there something wrong with this woman? Is there blood on this woman? Is there a wound? Is her clothing damaged in any way? What's wrong with her? Why is she in the thing? So that's what I mean. Like a lot of this stuff is just completely fake and gay, man. You know.
Some decisions with
Look at this foolishness, man. This is some wicked foolishness, bro. Genetic test. I don't believe that genetic tests aren't as solid as you might think. But there's been many studies. It's controversial. There's controversy among the geneticists that have studied the problem. Genetic tests will advance in the long-term future. I believe they'll find out who is from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No, probably not, man. How are they gonna determine what was the original genes? There's no way they can access the bones or the genes of Abraham, so they'll never be able to do that. Israel denying food to Gaza is weapon of war. All right, look at this pickleball.
Israel's military says it has struck a Gaza hospital, which it says was housing militants in a raid on Tuesday. The strike ended.
This is what they do. This is what they do. They'll bomb a hospital, and then they'll say, "Oh, there's housing militants." Like they have no evidence for this, you know, and they don't prove it. They don't allow independent investigation. They just tell you this story. And sometimes things come out, and it's like, "Oh, you obviously are lying." Like I told you how they shot up those that ambulance full of people. The ambulance is going to help people who they shot up, and then they shoot up the ambulance, And then they realized that they did it wrong, so they were like, okay, well, let's hide it. So they buried it. They didn't tell the families or anything. They just buried the whole thing. And then the people found it. But it might all be fake. They'll probably find the bones of Abraham under the pyramids. I know.
A brief pause in fighting to allow the release of a US-Israeli hostage. Hamas says the attack killed a journalist being treated after an Israeli attack last month. It comes as...
I thought you said that we're coming to the end times. Weren't you saying that the other day? We need to get ready for the end times and stuff? Research the prophecies and all this stuff? Now you're saying 750 years?
The UN has called for urgent international action to get aid into Gaza amidst fresh warnings.
The fact is, man, you know what? The fact is, like they've pushed this false understanding of science, where they make people think that scientists can just determine the ancient past and all this stuff. In the same way that evolution is fake, their claims of who got descended from who in the ancient past is also fake. It's dumb.
That nearly 500,000 people there, 1 in 5 of the population, now faces catastrophic hunger. The Israeli government has allowed no food into Gaza for more than 2 months now. Fergal Keane reports a warning for you. His report does contain distressing images from the start.
Hunger visible as the Israeli blockade tightens its grip.
This is the thing, man. There's no shortage of pictures of little kids begging for food in this place. And they don't have enough water either.
The smaller you are, the harder the struggle.
Who said that? Norman from Walter's server? That guy's wicked, dude. How dare these people? But those guys thought, like, see how even Walter's like, oh, they need to get out of there. Those Palestinians need to get out of there. Like, dude, they're human beings, man.
Struggle. Dana Al-Hajj is 11 years old. She is disabled. Her mother Wafa has struggled to find food.
We are adults, we can handle it, but these kids are victims. They cannot handle it. They can die from hunger. If my girl doesn't die today, she will die tomorrow if this situation continues.
The hungry and the weak are everywhere. Islam Hajjaj and her 6-year-old daughter Najwa, malnourished, eyes that already know immense loss.
Who will help me with my daughter? I lost another girl during the war. I gave birth to her, and she only lived for 1 month with me. And because of malnutrition and the cold, my daughter passed away.
Gaza is no longer a place of the modern world. But the medics here struggle
Look at
on.
this, dude. Look, imagine, like, dude, the place is so bombed to smithereens. Like, it's unbelievable, man. They say that they're going to take them 80 years to remove all the rubble. Because there's all these unexploded bombs in there and stuff.
In the past year, we followed the experiences of American doctor Sam Attar, fighting to save lives, too often losing.
But doesn't he say that it is not for you to know the times of the seasons, which the Father has put in his own power? Doesn't he say that? He said that to his disciples. So if it's not for them to know the times and the seasons, it can't be for us, you know? That's Acts chapter 1.
This little boy died from a shrapnel wound in his skull.
And afterwards, we all...
it's wicked, dude. Look at this, man. Little kids starving, dude. What is wrong with this guy? Allah was supposed to help them, but Allah is dead. Now they died a fool. So what is God helping the Jews? Is that what this guy's trying to say? What a wicked idiot, man. How dare this guy? Listen, people have different religions, okay? It doesn't mean you can just treat them like that, like talk about them like that. That's unbelievably wicked, dude. How dare this guy?
We all found out, and we all just felt a little cold and detached from it, because it's...
Yeah, kind of. They kind of are. Like, I mean, people would say that they're mixed, but they seem to have They kind of are, yeah. And Gaza is exactly where Philistia is. Like they used to call it Philistia. You see in the Bible, they call it that, or Palestina or something, you know. But that's where Gaza is. Where Gaza is what they call Philistia, and the Greeks used to call it Philistia even before them. The Egyptians had this people that came that they called them the Palestuna or something. Can't remember, but anyway, the Egyptians had the name goes back very far, back to those days. A lot of times you'll hear Jews trying to say nowadays, or Israelis anyway, or whatever, Zionists, they'll often try to make the claim that Palestine was never a nation, they were never a people, and it's just a modern invention, Palestine, right? But no, it's not the case. It was the Greeks. Herodotus named the place Philistia. The Romans called it Palestina, and even before that, the Egyptians, they named this group that used to come down there from the sea people, that they were called them like Palestuna or something.
It's stuff we're seeing all the time, and you save who you can, you mourn who you can, and then you move on. You have to.
Why not, brother? Pharmakia. Come on, man. Don't start with that pharmakia thing, man. I get it. I get that pharmaceuticals are wicked. It doesn't mean like anyway. Forget about the pharmakia thing. Look, what does Jesus say? Jesus said it to his own disciples. It is not for you to know the times of the seasons that the Father has put in his own power. Jesus said that to them. So what makes you think that it's for us to know the times and the seasons which the Father has put in his own power? What makes you think that? I mean, from the Bible. You know? Is there something in the Bible that makes you think that?
Sam filmed much of what he saw, what will never leave him. The man arriving at hospital with pieces of his dead child in a bag.
I couldn't find her yesterday, but I looked for her today and I found her under the rubble of the bathroom. She was martyred and torn to pieces.
A few days ago, we reported on this little girl, 5-month-old Siwar Ashura. Our journalist in Gaza went back to see her today. Her immune system is yielding to a skin infection. Hers, a cry for all the lost and broken children of Gaza. Fergal Keane, BBC News, Amman.
The head of the UN.
So they don't have any food. It's so weird because the people, the adults look like they're fine. Some of them are fat, right? But then you got these little kids that are just starving. It's very odd, you know? I'm not saying, like, look at this girl. Like, I guess we're supposed to presume that she hasn't eaten either. But because she's an adult, she can take it or something along those lines, right? And so they're all just malnourished, but the baby is really suffering. I guess that's what we're supposed to take from this. Can't view what I'm doing is just documenting the timeline. Yeah, that's fair enough. But I mean, I think you should try not to keep going hard on it. It's so hard. Thoughts on Norman? I think I gave you my thoughts on Norman. Did you miss that part when I was yelling about it? He's wicked, dude. How dare he? I was yelling about it just now, man. I was saying, look, Norman said this, right? Allah was supposed to help them, but Allah is dead. Now they die the death of fools. What a wicked fool, man. What a wicked fool. So what is he trying to say? Like, by that, according to that logic, I guess he's saying that Israel Jews are like good. The Israelis, wicked, man.
Okay. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. Studying the Bible with Mike, Sam, Pat. These other YouTubers are just so trash. Hit the thumbs up if you wanna support. Go follow Mike as he follows the Lord. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 You better watch out, Mike's calling out the shills. If you're not free grace, you need to sit down and chill. We're not hyper grace, you know we keep it real. Eternally secure, you know that we're sealed. We don't back low, we're not workspace heretics. Mike's not in it for the money, trying to get a lick. They out here selling their souls for a couple clicks. Becoming Freemasons so they can't just get rich. I'm studying the Bible in Toronto. 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 Shout out to Mike, Sam, Pat. Check out his channel, Toronto Bible Study. Subscribe and like.